Do you know Bradley Martyn's Raw Talk wasn't just about lifting weights, but also lifting drama? Well, it's true, as some of his guests have shown us all kinds of crazy proofs, from emotional confessions to some guests fans couldn't wait to cancel. Let's talk about the most loved and most hated faces Bradley Martyn ever had. Fuentes, a far-right figure already banned from almost every major platform, wasted no time throwing himself into the role of a victim. But it gets wilder. He claimed he lives under constant death threats, that he cannot board a plane because of the no-fly list.
About politics, and I've been on the no-fly list. I've had my bank accounts frozen. I've had people try to kill me at my house. And
that every morning, he wakes up feeling like his own government has branded him a terrorist. He insisted everything started falling apart once he began questioning US foreign policy and the Israel lobby. He painted himself as the martyr for free speech, saying he was punished simply for his opinions. Many viewers were outraged, calling the episode nothing more than a stage for hate speech and conspiracy theories. For most fans, the verdict was clear. Nick Fuentes walked away from Raw Talk, branded as one of the most hated guests the show had ever seen. And after all that controversy, we need to start things off with Fousey's not-so-casual confession. Bradley welcomed YouTube star Fousey onto the Raw Talk couch, and things got heavy, fast. Fousey admitted he'd been battling thoughts of ending his life for more than 10 years, and even tried once.
I lost the fight to Deji. I fell into an extreme depression. I went to a mental health institution, tried to get better, didn't work.
He shared how he planned it, what he would leave behind, and why he eventually didn't go through with it. His voice carried pain, and suddenly, the podcast felt less like a show and more like a therapy session. Instead of hiding behind laughs, Fousey opened up about his darkest battles. Fans praised him for proving that even the most successful creators fight struggles no one sees, and Bradley responded with a rare kind of empathy. It was one of those moments when an influencer drops the act and actually talks about mental health. But let's be real, not every guest brings the same energy, as Whack 100 made things a little messier. Whack 100 showed up on Bradley's couch, ready to brag about his grind. And wait until you hear this, he said if a company paid for dog poop, he'd start figuring out how to turn it into cash. He even laughed about chasing down strays and scooping up mess just to make a profit. But it doesn't stop there. He shifted gears, talking about growing up in Pacoima around drug dealers, with his own family running shady businesses on the side. He claims movies like The Godfather taught him the rules of the street, while his friends got locked up for petty crimes. Listeners couldn't believe how casually he talked about hustling anything that moved or didn't move. Some called it straight-up honesty. Others called it disturbing. Either way, he easily earned his place as one of the show's most controversial guests. But you won't believe who came next. Whack 100 might have been knee-deep in manure money, but the next guest kept it a whole lot cleaner. Chuck Liddell didn't come on Raw Talk to sell anything or start drama. He came with a story that hit straight to the heart, and you won't believe how far back it goes. He took everyone back to his childhood, where he would sit glued to kung fu theater, eyes wide, dreaming he was the next Bruce Lee. He laughed about sneaking into an old-school gym that wasn't even meant for kids, but that tiny spark lit a fire he's never let go of. And here's the inspiring part. What makes Chuck's story so powerful is how simple it really is. A kid with a dream who never stopped chasing it, no matter how impossible it seemed. That dream carried him all the way to a UFC belt. Nostalgic, emotional, and inspiring enough to remind us that sometimes the little sparks from childhood can shape a whole legacy. But while Chuck's journey showed the beauty of chasing a dream, the next guest reminded everyone just how dark things can get when the talk turns violent. Marlon Vera went all in with graphic detail about he would destroy Bradley in a street fight. When Bradley asked him how it would end, Vera didn't laugh, didn't crack a smile, and didn't hesitate. He said he would kill Bradley, rip out his eyes, and play with his guts. He called himself an animal who would do anything to win, and he meant every word. Some fans tried to pass it off as dark humor, but plenty of others were disgusted. Even Bradley looked like he wished he could take the question back. The clip spread online like wildfire and became proof that sometimes a guest just doesn't know when to stop. Overnight, Vera went from being a respected UFC contender to one of the most hated guests Raw Talk had ever seen. If Vera showed the dark side, Diaz showed the pride of a true fighter. Nate Diaz joined Raw Talk just before a big boxing match, and Bradley asked him if he thought the fight would be easy. Diaz scoffed at the question, as if the word easy had no place in his vocabulary. He said he only wants the biggest fights on the biggest stages, and he refuses to take shortcuts. For him,
it's cool, you know, it's like this is what everybody's aiming for, right? If you're fighting, you want to fight the best fights on the biggest stage. So, and it's a historical place to fight. It's a big deal, it's cool.
even if a fight ends in 1 minute, it has to be against the toughest opponent possible. And it gets better. He spoke about how he constantly trains with world-class boxers and grapplers, pushing himself every single day to be ready for anything. Fans loved it. They saw a fighter who doesn't chase comfort or safety, but one who embraces challenges as the true measure of greatness. It was a moment that reminded everyone why Diaz has built such a loyal following. He inspires people to stop looking for the easy path and instead aim for the fights in life that truly test them. But you won't believe how quickly the tone changed with the next guest. While Diaz showed off the heart of a true fighter, Zherka dragged the show into absolute madness. Zherka started mixing up insults, firearms, and even a bizarre chemistry lesson in no time. He admitted that before he ever blew up online, he was nothing more than a troll. He used to throw insults at strangers just for fun, and he even bragged about once telling a guy on a dating show to kill himself. Then, he casually dropped the fact that he flashed a gun during a virtual dating show because he thought that would be funny. As if that wasn't, he launched into the details of his first steroid cycle, 200 milligrams of Trenbolone.
Ironically, I believe you're on that. But on the steroid thing, like, that was just like an absurd amount of There's like,
can't get over the fact
hold
that
on.
he said we're botted.
Anadrol, and a cocktail of pills like Halo Test. The entire episode felt like a car crash that you could not turn away from. A handful of people laughed at the madness, but most viewers agreed it crossed every line. The guns, the drugs, and the reckless bragging cemented Zherka as one of the worst guests Raw Talk has ever seen. After all that madness, Bradley finally flipped the script and showed a side of himself no one expected. In his solo episode, Bradley looked different. He wasn't the larger-than-life motivator or the endless ball of energy. He was just a man who seemed genuinely worn out. After creating nearly 900 videos, he admitted he was tired, drained, and questioning if it was all still worth it. In a world where everyone preaches never quit, Bradley did something even braver. He admitted that sometimes stepping back is the healthiest choice you can make. For once, he wasn't just flexing muscles or shouting motivation. He was being real, vulnerable, and human. That honesty hit hard. Viewers saw a side of him that proved success isn't about grinding until you break. It's about knowing when to pause, reset, and choose yourself over the noise. But just when Bradley showed his most human side, Raw Talk swung in the opposite direction with its most explosive guest yet. Charlie Jordan's story brought Raw Talk back to something real and inspiring. She opened up about growing up Mormon in Las Vegas and how by the time she turned 18, she'd already decided she was done with the restrictions that came with that life. Instead of following the path laid out for her, she walked away from a track scholarship and chose something entirely different. She picked up a camera and started chasing music festivals around the world, determined to create her own story.
Kind of when I left the Mormon religion and pursued what I wanted to do.
At what age?
18.
Okay.
I gave up my D1 track scholarship and decided just to do social media. And I traveled for like 2.5 years to start off as road trips that turned into flying places to see friends, crashing on people's couches, which turned into working with hotels, and then it just kind of like snowballed from there.
But behind the adventure and the attention online, she admitted something personal. For years, she'd not even been on a proper date. Fame did not make relationships easier. If anything, it made them harder. That honesty struck a chord with viewers. They saw that behind the glamorous lifestyle, there was still real struggle and loneliness. Charlie's story became a reminder that sometimes the bravest choice is to let go of what feels safe and build a future that feels true to who you are. So, now it's your turn. Who do you think was Bradley's most loved guest? And who deserves the crown as the most hated? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's see where the debate goes. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this.